Hi, and welcome back to Act on Mental Health. My name is Sean Hardy, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor based here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we're in the midst of what I'm calling the ACT Roadmap, which is a 10-session protocol that I've made for those that are learning ACT. ACT is acceptance and commitment therapy, and so whether you're using it as a therapist with your clients, or whether you're in graduate school seeing if ACT is the right therapeutic modality for you, or if you're a client who's maybe seeing somebody who's using ACT, or you want to use it for your own mental health, this channel is for you, and this roadmap, I think, will help you immensely. So feel free to download that. It'll be in the description below. And this is meant as a handout that you can kind of reference and move around. So whether that's chronologically, session 1 through 10, or you can kind of move around as you get more fluent with it. I know when I was first starting out, I was using a manual and reading from it as I was learning all these metaphors and exercises, and I couldn't trust myself to do it off the cuff. But I know that there was a disconnect for my clients, and they were very patient with me as I was trying to learn this myself, and I know they'll be patient with you as well. As you get more comfortable, you'll get more confident, and pretty soon you'll be off and running and really be able to benefit from what ACT can help people with. So I've already covered phase 1 in sessions 1 and 2. So that's helping people to learn how to be open to whatever shows up. So that's the acceptance piece or willingness to let go of the rope. And then it's also diffusion from our thoughts and transforming our relationship with our thoughts. So phase 2 is going to build off of that, but you can also start here. And that's where we're learning to become aware. So aware. So aware of what? Well, this is where we have contact with the present moment process, and then we have the self as context process. So in session 3, I really devote a lot of the exercises to introducing mindfulness and the present moment. You know, the only place that we can act to improve our situation is in the present. And often, whether it's a clinical diagnosis of depression, where we ruminate, we bring the past pain into today, or if it's anxiety, where we're thinking and worrying about the future and bringing all that discomfort and pain into the present, we tend to be absent from the here and now. We're disconnected. And so ACT emphasizes that we need to contact the present moment. And I do that with something called mindfulness. And this is different than maybe Eastern religious practices of mindfulness or meditation. And it's more on focusing on your 5 senses in the here and now. So both internally, what is showing up, as well as externally, like the environment that you're in. What is this present moment? And so by the end of this session, I want them to experience at least one brief moment of grounded presence, like being able to know what that feels like experientially. And so I offer a couple exercises in this session. I also want them to understand that mindfulness is about noticing. It's not about relaxing or fixing anything. It's the purpose of noticing and becoming aware. Third, I want them to begin to see attention as a skill that they can train. And then I want them, lastly, to have a simple, practical tools that they can use in their daily life. So I kind of will review briefly what we've done so far, how struggling can often make things first, like we learned in session 1, and that thoughts are words and events. They're not commands. They're not literally true, and we're not one with our thoughts, as we talked about in session 2. So once we're able to step back from our thoughts and we have the ability to notice them, that's when mindfulness can really help us to tune in to what's going on in the here and now. Now, what is mindfulness and what is it not? So this would be like the teaching segment that I would use. So mindfulness is paying attention on purpose. It's paying attention on purpose in the present moment. And we're doing this with curiosity rather than judgment. So we're staying away from judgments, evaluations, comparisons, problem solving, analyzing, all of that. We're just noticing what is showing up in this present moment with curiosity, as if we're doing this for the first time. What mindfulness is not. Now, mindfulness is not just emptying your mind, trying to free yourself from every thought. Mindfulness is not relaxing, though relaxation can happen. And mindfulness is not a way to get rid of anxiety or do anything with whatever's disturbing us. And mindfulness is not a spiritual practice, even that you pass or fail. We're not trying to do yoga or any sort of meditative practice necessarily, although those may have their place. Mindfulness is about seeing clearly, not feeling better. So, why would we want to do mindfulness? Well, like I said at the beginning, the only time we can act is in the here and now. And that attention is like a muscle. It's a practice that we can develop that can help us to stay present and open and acceptance and willingness. So I noticed, or I said that it can be trained, but how do you do that? Well, this is where I talk about three things. These are three ways we can increase our mindfulness. First is understanding breath. Your breath is an anchor. It's kind of like you're a boat and you're always breathing. You're kind of going up and down, but your thoughts can kind of be like those waves, or those emotions can kind of bring you to and fro. And so your breath can be an anchor, can help you stay stable and stay present. Now, there's a lot of different breathing techniques out there. I tend to just teach one or two. I don't really find a lot of value in getting too bogged down with different practices. So I use the 4-7-8 breathing technique, and I practice it 2 to 3 times in session. And I teach why we do it too. So we're going to inhale through our nose for 4 seconds. We're going to pause for 7 seconds. And we're going to exhale through our mouth for 8 seconds. Now they're going to do it. We're going to do this for reasons, okay? So you have this vagus nerve, and you have a sympathetic response where it tends to be fight or flight, very much like angst. And so you might have shallow breathing, your heart rate might increase. That's when you know you're in a sympathetic response. And what we're trying to do is to get into a parasympathetic response where we're trying to rest and digest. We're trying to calm ourselves, okay? So breathing can help with that, just to be an anchor. So that's the purpose of it. So sometimes when you're dysregulated, it can be a way to regulate. But again, we're not trying to solve and fix anxiety. So that's important. You're inhaling through your nose, holding for 7 seconds, and then exhaling. As you're exhaling, I like to visualize a straw or blowing up a balloon, whatever your preference is, but we're trying to purse our lips together and breathe slowly. And you do this 2 to 3 times in session, but I recommend doing 2 to 3 minutes of this when you're doing this on your own. So let's just practice it once here. So we're going to inhale through our nose for 4 seconds. Hold. And out through the mouth. You do that a couple times, and then we just report back. What are you experiencing right now? And a lot of times it's just a stable, calm place, and that's just basic breath work. The second way that we can help with mindfulness and staying present is using like a grounding technique. So I like to teach the 5-4-3-2-1. It's very experiential and easy to do, easy to remember. And so we'll do this in session. First thing I'll have them do is just even right now, look around the room at 5 objects that you see and call them out. So phone, pen, cup, hand sanitizer, tablet. What's 4 things that you can feel? So I feel wood, material, and then you can describe it too. It's kind of coarse. I can feel the smooth metal on my laptop. It's warm. I can feel my tablet case is kind of bumpy. I can feel my cup, and it's kind of bumpy as well. Now, this one you might need to close your eyes, but what are 3 things that you hear? So I can hear the road, I can hear the noise machine, I can hear my voice. Then you would go to 2 things you can smell. So I might have to bring something like my coffee. It smells good. Then there's maybe my deodorant. Yeah, I smell like my Old Spice deodorant. And then one thing you can taste. I just happen to have my cup. I could taste the bold, rich coffee flavor. So this is a good one you can do. If you don't have anything you can taste, I recommend just putting your tongue to the top of your hand. You can kind of taste a little salty flavor. This is good because you can do it anywhere. Then I apply my own anxiety struggles. So I have some car anxiety that shows up. Not all the time, thankfully, but like at certain times it does, and it hits really hard. So in those times, I tend to ground myself in my car because I have car anxiety. It's not so much I'm going to get in a wreck, but other people are going to get me in a wreck, change my family's life forever, that kind of stuff. So as my mind's going on that, I'm kind of unhooking from that and then grounding and what's going on around me. So I have my hands in the steering wheel, kind of feel the steering wheel. I'll take maybe some breaths. I'll put my feet into the floorboard, not into the gas pedal, and just kind of remember where I'm at. And then I'll hear the sounds. I'll notice the things around me. And it's just a basic grounding thing. And it helps me to remember where I'm at. And it can be helpful. You're not trying to get out of anything. You're trying to actually just stay present. All right, so that's the second way. So we have breath work, grounding, and then we have mindfulness. And this is what this is where I show them experientially what I mean. So I have 2, and sometimes if I have enough time, I'll do both. But sometimes the first one has a little bit of a setup. So if I don't have this, it's a cup of water. Like I'll have that for the client, have that for myself. Then I'll save that for maybe the beginning of the next session. So I kind of tie them together, and I'll just do the second one. So for this one, since I have a cup, you can do this with any beverage. But let's say I have a cup of water here. And so I'll have the client just hold it in their hand. And what I guess the way I want to set this up is I'll say, with mindfulness, we're actually training our attention. And the way I want to show you that is I'm going to do this simple exercise with you. That's something you've done a million times, taking a drink of water. I'm going to show you how you could take an ordinary act and do it mindfully. So I want you to hold your cup, and I just want you to focus your attention on the palms of your hand and as it makes contact with the cup. Can you do that? Yes. And throughout this exercise, I don't want you to talk to me. Just internally start to point your attention and notice. All right. I want you to notice the weight of the cup. Is it heavy? Is it light? Notice if you can feel the texture. Does it have a temperature? Just notice what that's like. Next, I want you to look down into the cup, and I want you to notice what you see. Do you see the liquid? Does it have a color? Is it moving? Is there a reflection? What do you notice? Does it have a scent or smell? Next, I want you to bring it up to your lips, and I just want you to place it where your lips making contact with the cup. And I want you to notice what's that experience is like. And are you noticing that your mouth and throat are anticipating the water? Are you noticing anything happening in your mouth? What does that feel like as you make contact with the cup? All right, next, I want you to go ahead and take a drink, but do not swallow until I say to do so. Now, If it happens automatically, that's okay. Take another drink and try to hold that in your mouth. Ready? And go. Notice what that's like. Notice how the dryness has now disappeared and there's a coolness. There's a sense of refreshing. And notice as your body wants to drink the water, wants to be satiated. Just notice what that's like. All right, go ahead and swallow. After this, I have them put down the cup and I'll kind of do a little bit of a debrief. And what was that experience like? Was there anything that was easy to do? Anything that came naturally? Was there anything that was new or different or difficult? And as we talk a little bit, I'll prepare them for the next exercise. Or if you don't have a cup of water, you can just do the second one. So the second one is called the hands to heart exercise. I really, really like this one, and I'm sure there's different ones you can do, but I really like this one as something to teach somebody an intro to mindfulness and helps them to understand where to place their attention. All right. So I'm going to have them start, and you can do this with me right now. I'm going to have you start by putting your hands right on your knees and making sure your feet are making contact with the floor. All right, so go ahead and get comfortable. And what I want you to do is I want you to focus your attention on the palms of your hands as they make contact with your knees. And I want you just to notice what that sensation is like. What does the fabric feel like? Or if it's making contact with your skin, what is that sensation like? Is it warm? Is it cool? What are you able to distinguish there? All right, next, I want you to place your attention on the bottoms of your feet. Can you do that? All right, go ahead and put your attention on the bottoms of your feet. Go ahead and wiggle your toes a little bit. And I want you to rock your feet from your toes to the balls of your feet and back again. Just roll them on the floor. Just notice what that sensation is like on your feet. All right, next, I want you to press into the floor just firmly. About 5 seconds, push into the floor and release. And I want you to see if you can tell the difference on where your feet rest. Can you notice the contact that your feet are making within your shoe? Is there any gaps, spaces that are not touching? Can you feel your feet with your socks? Yeah, just notice what you can feel there. All right, next, we're going to end the exercise with putting your attention to your right palm of your hand. And I want you to bring it up to your chest, right above where your heart is. And then I want you just to notice what that sensation is like as your hand rests on your chest. What does the fabric feel like? Do you notice any temperature? Do you notice your hand rising and falling as you breathe? And maybe you can notice your heartbeat or vibration as you're breathing. Just notice what your hand is picking up. All right, you can go ahead and put your hand back on your knee, and we're going to debrief. So during the debrief, it's kind of the same as the cup of water where I'll ask, was there anything that was difficult or different? Anything that you noticed? Is there anything you couldn't do? For some, they can't feel their heartbeat, or really maybe they can't notice something. For some, they might have noticed that it was difficult bringing their attention to something else, that they were getting kind of caught up in wherever their attention was placed. But almost everybody can move their attention, and that is the experiential learning I want. I want them to notice that they can move their attention from different things. That is one of the basics of mindfulness and will be useful for any exercise that they do from here. So we're also kind of introducing a different kind of mode. When clients come to me, they're usually in a doing mode and they want something to do, something to fix their problems, something to solve whatever problem they're having, some way to control or even like to judge. They want somebody else to kind of help them to do better. So we're trying to go from a doing mode to a being mode. So noticing, allowing, and experiencing. And that's what these exercises help to do. Now, we're gonna, as we end the session, we're gonna link it to the next session, which is going to be to introduce self as context. And this is where, when you're doing these kind of mindfulness exercises, you're also going to notice the thoughts and the feelings that are showing up. And so what I'm going to maybe leave them with is to pick one action to do this week. And so for them, it might be the breath work, or maybe grounding, or maybe trying mindfulness. And then I will point them to the resource that I gave them, which is session 1 or chapter 1 of the Doing What Matters in Times of Stress. Or maybe I might point them to a video of using one of these exercises. So the next session, we're going to be talking about self as context, or the observing self. And there's some really great ideas for them to apply then, but that's where we'll leave session 3. Remember, your journey towards a more purposeful and mindful life begins with a single click.